going to simplify these radicals, but now we're in the complex numbers because we have square roots of negatives. So we're going to have little i's floating around. Okay, first example, radical of negative 48. So remember that 48 can be viewed as 6 times 8, which would be 3 times 2, 4 times 2, and then 2 times 2. So as far as our pairs go, we got a pair of 2's and a pair of 2's. So we would simplify this by getting the answer of 2 and 2 escape to be 4. The 3 doesn't escape, so it's still inside of the prison, so we're going to put a 3 there. And then because it's a square root of a negative number, we're going to have an I. So since we're just dealing with our first instances of imaginary numbers here, I'm going to put the I in front of the radical so I don't confuse it for being a square root of I. So for this one I would say 4I radical 3. Second example, 40 breaks down into a 4 times a 10, which would be a 2, 2 and a 2, 5. Notice there's a pair of 2's, so as I simplify this radical, the 2 is going to escape from prison. 2 and 5 are going to be left in prison, so we're going to put a radical 10 there. There was a negative out in front of the entire thing, so we don't lose that. And since we took the square root of a negative number, that's where that I gets introduced again, the imaginary unit, because the square root of negative 1 is I. So this answer would be negative 2I radical 10. Third example, I'm going to now take the square root of negative 6, and actually 6 doesn't break down any further into anything that escapes, because 6 is just 2 times 3. So it turns out the answer to this is just going to be radical 6. Nothing really escapes. But it's the radical of a negative number, and so therefore we're going to have to put that little imaginary unit out in front, and this would be I radical 6. So now that we've just learned how to work with these new little I concepts, try to do this problem. What is the negative square root of negative 9? Now assuming you pause for a second, try this on your own, you can either break down 9 into 3, 3, or you might just realize that the square root of 9 is obviously 3. So the answer is going to be 3, but there was a negative sign out in front, so I'm going to put the negative right there. And you are taking the square root of a negative number, so we need to put the placeholder of the I. And therefore the final answer to this problem should have been, hopefully you got, negative 3I.